Um, we're going to talk about Chennedy Carter, but it appears that she has been blacklisted and will be paid to play professional basketball during the season, but it won't be for the After more than 120 days without a single WNBA team willing to sign her, Carter has officially made her move to Mexico's Professional Basketball League. And with training camp beginning today, she needs to do everything in her power to get some help and control her anger so that she won't have another incident like the one where she slammed into Caitlin Clark. This isn't just another player switching teams. The Chicago Sky's top scorer has been officially fired from the league after a purposeful hit on the NBA's Golden Goose. The Sky let their star player leave without even attempting to get anything in return, and no one wanted to pick her up despite an MVP performance abroad. If Chennedy deserves it, let's break down exactly how it happened, where she's going, and her response to all of this. Despite Carter's strong 4-year career, an incident involving Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark stood out to many. The 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year entered the league and became arguably the most popular player there. I cleaned it up for you, which might have irritated some people, including Carter. Tensions were already running high when everything changed in an instant. And Clark, it's obviously a foul that was called as players moved to the other end. Carter and Clark briefly crossed paths, which is normal in the course of a basketball game. But what happened next was anything but routine. Carter appeared to be going about her business when she abruptly changed her trajectory. It wasn't subtle, rather, it was calculated, and she veered straight into Clark's path, delivering a hip check that sent the rookie sprawling across the hardwood. Not to mention that Angel Ree was captured on camera jumping and clapping on the sidelines immediately after the contact. So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Camila Cardoso and the rest of the people, and then we get to the body check. This was initially called an away from the ball foul, but it was clearly a flagrant foul, which really upset a lot of people and escalated the situation. It was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy's part. The collision wasn't a typical basketball play, not even a normal hard foul. It was something different that made the arena gasp. The live broadcast captured every second of it, and you could hear the commentators' voices shift from game analysis to genuine shock. What was that? Was the first question that rippled through the crowd as Clark hit the floor. Officials didn't hesitate to blow the whistle, initially calling a regular foul, but even in real time, everyone knew this deserved closer examination. The day after official confirmation that the contact was non-basketball in nature and potentially dangerous, the footage that millions would soon be analyzing on social media was upgraded from a common foul to a flagrant foul. What's particularly telling about this incident wasn't just the hit itself, but Clark's response to it. While many players might have jumped up ready for confrontation, Clark simply got to her feet, composed herself, and continued playing. This contrast between Carter's aggression and Clark's composure only amplified the narrative taking shape, and analyses of shooting percentages and defensive rotations were abandoned for frame-by-frame analyses of Carter's actions revealed that she was targeting Clark because she was a rookie, creating personal and professional jealousy. The questions increased, and the basketball itself took a back seat until someone told her, man, I could be in the WNBA right now, starting on a team being their leading scorer. I've got to get my temper and my head under control. I got to figure it out somehow. However, no one saw at the time that this 5-second sequence would drastically change Carter's career trajectory. It wasn't just a poor decision in the heat of competition, but the beginning of her professional unraveling, a single physical play that would set off a chain reaction that would eventually force her out of the league completely. Incredibly talented, but she needs to get her act straight. If the hit itself wasn't enough to ruin Carter's reputation, what happened next would be disastrous, because when the cameras focused on Carter after the game, giving her an opportunity to explain or even apologize, her response would add industrial strength fuel to an already raging fire that she knocked Caitlin Clark to the ground. We all saw it as a flagrant foul, and many people, including myself, thought it was borderline assault. It was terrible. The cameras continued to roll as Carter entered the post-game press conference, giving her the ideal opportunity to change the narrative. An apology and explanation, even just acknowledging what happened, could have lessened the blow, and reporters gave her an open mic to address the elephant in the room. Her 7 words, "I'm not answering any questions about Caitlin Clark," would prove to be more devastating than any hip check. Chennedy then wanted to give you a chance to talk about that moment between you and Caitlin. What was said, what was played, and kind of what it led to was a nice question, Kate. It seemed like she turned to you a little bit after I didn't answer any questions about Caitlin Clark. Did she say anything to you? I don't know what she said. What did you say to her? I didn't say anything, but that's enough. We're good. Those 7 words reverberated through basketball circles at a remarkable speed, and within hours, sports analysts who might have defended the on-court incident as simply physical basketball were unable to defend Carter's post-game attitude. Her refusal to address the situation turned what could have been a one-day story into a week-long analysis of her character, and while the hip check had raised eyebrows, this response raised red flags. I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just like, calm down, let your play do the talking, it's a physical game, go make the free throw, and then execute on offense. And feel like that's kind of what we did. I'm not sure what makes Carter's response even more damaging, though, because it contrasted with how Clark handled the situation, avoiding responsibility by telling reporters, "Basketball's competitive. I get it, emotions get the best of you, it happened to me too." While one player showed maturity and understanding, the other displayed a startling lack of accountability that left league executives whispering, and there hasn't been any talk about where she could be landing in this free agency. I'm wondering if she's worth the risk. Her dismissive attitude caused internal chemistry issues in the Chicago Sky locker room, with teammates and coaches reportedly reacting negatively to her remarks. I mean, she can score with the lights out. She's a pure offense, a shooting guard, scoring guard and instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't. The damage wasn't limited to public perception. It created real friction within her own team. The locker room tension following her remarks made an already challenging situation almost. The Chicago Sky ultimately decided to let her go in free agency without a contract offer, because it is impossible for basketball to remain a team sport when one player refuses to acknowledge behavior that reflects poorly on the entire organization. One general manager was even quoted anonymously saying, "We won't touch her even with a TNF poll." Can you break down that situation that happened? I mean, well, in basketball, there are things called talking, what you like to call smack, or whatever everybody likes to call it, plays before things are said. You know, that's a part of the game. Carter remained silent about the incident for almost a year, until last week, when she seemed compelled to explain herself in an interview with Neon. A controversial podcaster explained that it was just a light tap. Yes, the same collision that sent Clark sprawling across the court and earned an immediate flagrant foul call was in Carter's revisionist history. I believe that a play occurred before I was elbowed, but then maybe there was a little clip of someone yelling in my face. And then we went down the court and I hit her like a little bucket. You felt me come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull-up. And then I just you know what's crazy? My brother and I went back and watched, and we saw a lot of NBA clips of guys pushing LeBron out of bounds. I believe it was Jeff Teague or someone who did that. You almost have to admire the dedication to the moment, because after watching the replay hundreds of times, Most viewers can clearly see Carter changing direction specifically to make contact, but now it's being described as an accidental brush in a crowded elevator. This late attempt at damage control begs the question, why break your silence now, months after it could have helped with an explanation nobody believes? So I'm just like, it's like one of those things, like it happens in basketball. I know people try to say, oh, it's not one of those, it's not a personal thing, it's a competitive thing. It happens in basketball. And like, it's just one of those things. But yeah, it's kind of what happened. Then it spiraled out of control. Then the media takes whatever narrative they want to watch every game to see if you can find any deflects in my game. And like, it's really nothing that you probably could say too much about. So then you have trolls, which is why I said they're going to be around regardless. But
they have no idea.
Yeah, it was just like a nice little tap. Like,
to Caitlin Clark.
I'm here not to like harm you or anything. You know, if you want to push somebody, you're going to like full force.
They seem to want to spend as little time on her as they can.
Possibly
this has infuriated the
Carter's
Indiana Fever, and they're setting themselves up for a huge winter overhaul. And a new key member of the Indiana Fever's front staff did not mince words regarding how prospective Fever players should see Caitlin Clark.
That she was unwilling
the WNBA should be afraid for what's to come to the court next season.
I've had buckets all season, you know what I mean?
And sustain off of
it's just one of those things that I love, even though they think I hate it. I love it when it gets to the point where you feed off of what people say.
Yeah, I think
and it makes you more. Oh yes, I love the
We've seen such a huge inflection of attention, and
what's really fascinating about Carter's situation is that no one questions her ability to play basketball at the age of 17. Several WNBA teams should have been lining up with contract offers because of her talent alone, which was a career high of 5 points per game last season. However, the combination of that egregious foul and her subsequent response made her radioactive in league circles.
We're going to
She stopped and said,
we understand. I've been through
oh,
this.
that's not the case. We watched the video. There's no way that we're allowing this to happen as if it were saying that it was nothing like this. Basketball executives know that chemistry is important, especially in women's basketball, where team cohesion frequently determines success. Signing Carter was more than just adding a talented scorer. It also raised serious questions about how she might handle coaching criticism or future incidents. This is crazy, and it changes everything because we've been waiting for Chennedy Carter to take responsibility for what she did to Caitlin Clark for a long time. I haven't even had a chance to watch all of the footage yet, but I'm going to look at it. But it shows me that she is still not accepting responsibility for her actions. And that she will blame Caitlin Clark for allegedly smacking her when most fans first heard Carter's name. After that notorious hip check, WNBA insiders had been expressing
now that the Indiana Fever's inaugural season is over, there will be considerable research and evaluation of how the organization may develop and become a title contender. While they were never considered serious WNBA title contenders, Indiana did take significant steps forward from previous seasons. And the main reason for this is Caitlin Clark. Clark started the WNBA this year and has quickly established herself as one of the league's top 5 players. However, the Fever will need to acquire crucial assets around her this summer if they want to compete with elite clubs in 2025. Kelly Krauskopf, Fever's president of basketball and business operations, gave a news conference on Tuesday morning. At one occasion, she conveyed a clear message regarding free agents perhaps playing with her top player.
Essentially stating that she was a hindrance to the team and its culture, and the team decided to trade her to the Los Angeles Sparks after Elena Carter found herself traded to the Los Angeles Sparks, where her problematic behavior pattern persisted despite her ability to score. Reports surfaced that Carter's poor conduct led to her playing time being reduced, with the coaching staff clearly choosing to limit her minutes despite her offensive talents, prioritizing team cohesion over individual scoring. I mean, good luck. I don't know who's going to take her. I don't know what teams are going to take her. And no, I don't think she's going to the Indiana Fever. I mean, yes, bring her in after what happened, but I don't think. Despite averaging 14, executives, what's really telling. 6 points on a remarkable 47. In the 2024 WNBA season, guard Chennedy Carter emerged as a key player for the Chicago Sky, leading the team in scoring with 17.5 points per game, a career high. She would still likely be their best pure offensive weapon if she was still on that team. However, there is a world where Camila Cardoso and I have stated that this will be their best player this year, provided they allow her to ball or provide Angel with assists. Despite Carter's 3% shooting throughout her career, teams were still hesitant to bring her on board. One anonymous executive even called her radioactive, which is an extraordinary label for a player with such obvious scoring ability. Reese gets the hell out of the way. Despite leading the Sky in scoring with a career-high 17, her stellar 2024 season with Chicago was the most devastating evidence of how her reputation had declined. This wasn't a basketball decision, rather, it was a clear statement about values and team culture. The Sky effectively told the entire league that Carter's shooting wasn't worth the off-court baggage she brought with her. And in a telling response, not a single one of the other 11 WNBA teams stepped forward to sign her, even as they filled out their rosters for the upcoming 2025 season. Carter scored 5 points per game and appeared in 33 games, the most in her career. So think about that for a moment. After more than 120 days of free agency without a contract offer, Carter's WNBA exit is now official. She signed with Adelita de Chihuahua of Mexico's Female Basketball League, effectively signaling the end of her time in the world's premier women's basketball league. The Mexican team proudly announced her signing on Instagram, highlighting her accomplishments and welcoming her to their roster. Her one-year deal with the Sky has come to an end, and she is yet to sign with the WNBA team with training camp approaching. I'm not even trying to say that the LMBPF, the WNBA thing, appears to be over for her for the time being. In case you were wondering, she averaged 17.5 points per game last season and shot a whopping 50% from the field for the Chicago Sky. She is 26 years old. I understand that she will not be alone in her Mexican basketball journey, though, as guard Victoria Viven, who played for the Indiana Fever for 6 seasons before briefly joining the Seattle Storm in 2024, will be joining her. This is both a new beginning and a major step down from the platform and prestige of the WNBA. It's highly likely that her talent hasn't diminished, just her reputation. The real question is whether this move is a temporary diversion or a permanent departure from the highest levels of women's basketball. And I'm not sure what will serve as a wake-up call, but it doesn't seem like that will happen this season. The WNBA isn't just improving its game, it's changing its culture. As Chennedy Carter travels to Mexico, the message is clear. Skill without character won't cut it anymore. Chennedy Carter has a new job. Adios, amigos. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are creating a completely different picture for 2025 with record-breaking attendance and viewership. Clark's influence goes far beyond the court as her jersey tops league merchandise sales, driving an incredible 11-fold increase in overall player merchandise revenue. If you think Chennedy deserves it, please let me know in the comments section below. You can also subscribe and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. Click the video on the screen and we'll see you in the next one. Professional standards with stricter rules and higher expectations demonstrate exactly what today's league values most.